how many applications should you send out when you go to become a police officer? Should you send one? Should you send 10? Which one's best? And which way guarantees that you're going to get hired on as a cop? Let's discuss. Before we get started, listen, those gifts are in the description for you. One is the Getting Started workshop. It's going to walk you through each stage of the hiring process so you know what you're in store for and you're better prepared. It also has some hidden bonuses in there for you as well. Additionally, you can do a live coaching call with myself, and we'll jump on and address your specific hiring process, something that is tailored to you, and I can help get you started on the right foot so that you can do this one time and not have to go through and get disqualified or not selected and actually go through, get hired, and become a cop. Now, starting on that, what is the best way to start applying to become a police officer? Should you send out 10 resumes? Should you send out one? What's better is shotgunning those resumes out there going to help you, is being specific and only focusing on one department, the best way to do it. And my answer to this is, one, it depends on the individual. But if I was going to give you more of a blanket statement, and what I tell a lot of my coaching members is, apply to your top three. Pick your top three, whether that's if you want to move, if you want to stay local, whatever you want to do, pick your top three. So I'm going to pick agencies A, B, and C. A is my favorite, B is my second, and then C is the one that I still want to work for, but they're the lowest on the list. What I'm going to tell you to do is reverse those in how you apply to them. And we'll break all this down here in a little bit, but I'm going to apply to C first, then I'm going to apply to B, and then I'm going to apply to A. And the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to apply to C first week, second week I'm going to apply to B, and the third week I'm going to apply to A. Now, what's this do? This keeps it tight enough so that you're not looking at getting a job offer from C and still waiting to hear back from A, but you're still in the running with A, and you're gonna have to accept with C, even though you really want A, because you're gonna accept with the first department that hires you, or first department that makes you that offer, unless you have competing offers. So that's that reason, right? If you keep them tight enough together, you can apply to C and B, and if you mess up in those departments or you make a mistake, it's going to be on those departments, and you're going to build your experience before you get to your primary department or the main department that you really want to work for. The last thing you want to do is apply to your dream agency right off the bat or first and never have any experience going through the hiring process, because if you're going at it alone, there's a good chance you're going to make a mistake. And if you don't have any experience, it's just really going to hurt you. You don't know what to expect for board questions. Now, every department changes up their board questions, but you don't have the understanding and the experience to know what a board interview looks like. You don't know what to expect on a polygraph. You don't know what to expect on a psychological exam. You don't know what to expect during PT tests and written exams. All those things hurt you. So if you score bad on your written and your physical exam, but you pass and you barely squeak through, you want that to be on your C agency, not your A agency, because your A agency, you want to smoke check it. You want to do the best you've ever done on a hiring process, because you're really only going to get one shot at that department. You can always reapply, but most of the time, if they don't select you or they disqualify you, you're kind of at the whim of if they're even willing to let you apply, or you might have to wait a year to apply, whatever they tell you at that point. So I'm going to apply to 3 agencies, and this is enough that one agency, if you wait for one agency and you start the process with one agency and you wait to go through and you don't get selected, you just wasted 4 to 6 months, right, of your time, of your eligible time to apply. And then you have to start the process all over again. So that's never the best way to do it. You want to have at least a couple lines out there, fishing analogy here, a couple lines out there, so you got a better chance of catching something. If you have to wait and you're doing it one at a time, what if you don't get picked up with your first agency? Say you make a mistake, you don't get picked up, and then you went through the process and it took 4 months. Well, now there's 4 months gone, and now you need to start the process all over. You're a little bit better, but say you make another mistake, or say you're just not the most qualified applicant in this. Say it's just a whole bunch of overqualified individuals that they say, hey, this is a good application pool, and you're not the most qualified in that one. Well, then Now you're waiting another 4 to 6 months to apply to another agency. It just doesn't make sense to do it that way when 3 agencies aren't really going to hurt you in reference to the other agencies. Now, well, if that's the case, why don't I just apply to 10 agencies? There's a couple things with that. One, 10 agencies, you tend to lose track, right? Where am I at with the process? You're always hawking your email, making sure you're not missing anything. You're probably going to miss something. You're probably going to have overlapping testing dates, which is going to make you get disqualified from a department, which is only going to hurt you because then you're going to have to put down all these different departments that you've applied to. And we've seen it before as hiring officials. We've seen hey, this person's just shotgunning their resume out there, shotgunning out applications, hoping to get picked up with any department. They don't care who it is. And it makes you less of a desirable candidate, where if you say, hey, I applied to these 3 departments and I bring you in and I'm starting your background or I'm doing an interview. Hey, why'd you apply to these 3 departments? Well, I took the time. I really analyzed the departments that I felt had good core values and that I would really want to work for. And these were my top 3 departments. And then, you always want to sell it a little bit more. And this one being my top department. But anyway, that's why you apply to 3. 3 is manageable, right? And 10, you're going to start overlapping dates. Like I said earlier, you're going to lose track of things. You're going to get disqualified. And then you're going to wind up having to put on multiple applications. Hey, what happened with this department? Oh, still in the process. What happened with this department? Still in the process. Oh, what happened with this department? Not selected. What happened with this department? Disqualified. All these type of things, and it just makes you look bad. The more departments you have under your belt that don't select you, it's not a good look. Those aren't disqualifying factors, but it makes the background investigators and the hiring process, or the hiring evaluators, say, hey, take a double look at your application, and you as a candidate say, why didn't these other departments pick up this individual? What did they know, or what did they see, or what did they have that we don't have? And it makes them kind of dive into you as an applicant a little bit more, but not in a good way, right? Or they just say, hey, we have more qualified applicants, or we have other qualified applicants that don't have all these other departments under their belt. Let's just move forward with them, because the last thing we want to do is make you an offer, and then you tell me a week before, when I've already dismissed all my other candidates, that you're going with a different department because you applied to 10 of them. So it just makes us second guess whether or not we want to make you an offer, because we just don't know. Excuse me. We just don't know if you're committed to this department if we make you that offer. So keep all that in mind, right? It's things like that you have to consider. So let's break this down a little bit further. If I am applying to a department and I want this department to be my number 1 agency, I'm going to apply to this. I'm going to apply to this department on week 3. I'm going to pick 3 departments. You can pick 2. You can pick 1. You could pick 10 if you want. This is just my recommendation. I'm going to apply to Department A on week 3. I'm going to say, hey, I'm starting my application process. I'm applying to Department C on week 1, B on week 2, A on week 3. I know that because I'm applying this in this close of an interval, there's a good chance that A might still contact me first, especially if they're a more squared away department and they're on top of their hiring process. So the idea behind it may still not work. The idea of not having any experience with the hiring process going into A. However, with that, right, that's okay. You can go through. There's plenty of things out there that you can do to prepare. We help you guys prepare all the time. But if you're going through and you say, hey, I'm applying CBA, and A contacts you first, don't worry about it. It's a good thing. They're interested in you. It is what it is. It's not gonna end your chances. But if it was perfect, you'd apply to C, do well in C, they'd move you forward in the process. You apply to B, you do even better on B, they'll move you forward in the process. And then you apply to A, and A, you do the best in the process. So they kind of speed up your hiring process. And then you're looking at getting offers around about the same time. Now, if A comes up and makes you an offer first, especially if it's a conditional offer, great. Everything worked out literally perfect. If C makes you an offer first, but you have A on the back burner, and A is saying, hey, we're just finishing up your process. C makes you an offer. You go ahead and tell A, say, hey, I really would like to work for you guys. I know I'm still in the hiring process. I know I'm just about done. can you tell me where I'm at? Because C is making me an offer and I don't want to turn them down if you guys don't have an open billet or an offer for me or a projected date. That gives you a little bit of leverage to kind of push your hiring official to say, hey, remember, I disclosed that I was working to these, or I was applying to these 3 agencies. Are you willing to make me an offer? And usually they'll come back, especially if it's towards the end of the hiring process, which all 3 agencies should be at this point, that they'll say, hey, we're willing to make you an offer and I'll get the documentation sent over to you this week. And you can go back to C and say, hey, yes, I'd like to accept this position. I need 72 hours to confirm though. I just got to talk it over with my family and just confirm. And then you're good to go. You have the best of all 3 worlds, right? So you have the best of all 3 worlds here where multiple departments are interested in you. But here's why this is so important. If you make the mistakes, make them on C and B. Don't make them on your dream agency, because it's very demotivating or demoralizing. Excuse me. There's a word I'm looking for. Demoralizing, that if you go apply to your dream agency and you get permanently disqualified from it because you made a simple mistake that really, if you would have known better or you didn't misarticulate, you wouldn't have been disqualified or dismissed from it. And now you got to wait a year, and you don't want to wait a year to start your law enforcement career. These are all things you really should just kind of keep in the back of your mind. That's the way I would attack the hiring process. That's the way we attack the hiring process for about 90% of our coaching candidates or coaching clients. And that's the way that we get them hired so quickly, is because they don't look bad. Applying to 3 departments doesn't look bad as if you're applying to 10 at the same time. And they're not waiting to go through the process so long. If one department decides not to select them, they have 2 more departments that they can rely on to get picked up for. And usually we can get them hired within their first 3 departments once we start coaching them through the process. But as always, those gifts are down in the description. I hope this one helps you. And the first gift is going to be your Getting Started workshop. It's going to walk you through each phase of the hiring process. The other one is going to be a one-on-one coaching call with myself. I can help get you through anything specific to your hiring process, any concerns you have, any questions you have, we can address them. And I will let you know what my professional opinion is on your chances of becoming a police officer. As always, stay safe, and I will see you next time.